All right, we are on a special Yogi's road trip. I'm here with Seth from Dry Ice Detailing Pros, and I've brought Pepper to this place because I want to have that undercarriage completely clean after all the hard work that Yogi Mama and I did. It's the best thing we could do. No one's really going to see it, but I'll know it's clean, and that's the important part for me. So Seth, tell me a little bit about your business and how long you've been around and what you specialize in.
Yeah, so like Mike said, I'm Seth Yogi. I own Dry Ice Detailing Pros. We started back in really early of last year. First customers came in basically at the tail end of April and went from there. So this was really something that I was passionate about, something that wasn't available in the Houston Central market. And I went to Costa Mesa, California, checked out a shop there that was doing dry ice detailing, kind of learned the business side of it. Also got some gun time and went underneath the car.
Yeah.
So, and I was just blown away by the results, especially with these modern classic vintage vehicles that people are collecting nowadays. It's a perfect pairing.
Just to see it come back to life underneath and to get that beautiful original what zinc finish or whatever is on there.
Yeah, aluminum, zinc. It just looks brand new again.
Yeah.
So it really makes it from top to bottom. If you could think of somebody that's very detail oriented, they love their cars being detailed and they're perfectly ceramic coated.
Right.
But then their bottom side is dirty and grimy. So this is just a way to put it to that level, right? This is truly the pinnacle of detailing.
Yeah. So when you do something like this, do you seal it so that it doesn't happen again? Is there any type of process that you do to help keep it from?
So it really depends on the owner.
Okay.
If you're driving this every day or you're going to take it up north where it's some salt and grime and so forth, then yes, we can definitely undercoat it with some sort of sealant, transparent or black coating. I work on different like SUVs, trucks, so forth that are body on frame.
Gotcha.
Those are more perceptible to rust.
Yes.
Right? Sports cars, such as the Porsches, most of them are driven in the weekends.
Right.
And so most of the owners like to keep it just how it is. Most of the time they're driving in sunny weather.
Gotcha.
We are part of what's called Dry Ice Nation. So Scott Ailes is one of the founders or is the founder of Dry Ice Nation, which is a collective group of dry ice providers across the U.S. There's probably over 40 of them across the United States.
Okay.
So we have 2 locations actually, one here in Houston and one in Alpharetta, Georgia, just north of Atlanta.
That's good to know. So for my Georgia viewers, you've got another option there in Alpharetta.
That's up and running. We started, that became operational beginning of January. We're getting a lot of, enthusiasts in Atlanta and in, of course, Houston, these big markets that have really usually good weather, 4 seasons, well, 3 seasons
More
a year.
or less.
So very mild winters.
Right.
It's gonna definitely help with a lot of these guys that want to drive their cars, enjoy them, and get them cleaned up.
We're going to take a tour of this environment, and then we're going to get right to business because I want to see this thing shine up pretty. So let's get going.
This is a rotary screw 3-phase air compressor. This is 30 horsepower.
So it's not something you can buy at Home Depot or Lowe's.
Not at all. Not at all. This is a very industrial. You need a lot of volume. You need a lot of air.
A lot of power. I see too. A lot of power cables.
So I needed to create a 3-phase setup for this particular space. From there, you go to a wet tank. The most important thing with dry ice, once it hits a car, is you need to be bone dry, right? So capturing that moisture is gonna help with a desiccant dryer. It gets to the dew point of minus 40 degrees.
Wow.
So most people think, oh, refrigerated dryer, but that only takes it up down to 60 degrees ambient.
Okay.
Right? In Houston, that's not gonna do anything.
Yeah, no.
You are humid, so you need to have a desiccant dryer. That's the key integral part of making sure that what comes out of a dry ice machine is dry. So
this is stage 1.
Stage 1, it goes to the wet tank and then desiccant dryer.
That's stage 2.
And then around here, this is the big 400-gallon dry tank. This has, of course, a lot of volume, so it helps with making sure that I have enough air when I'm pressing the gun. So this is the cold jet machine. So it's all digital, and you can basically what is called particle control.
Okay.
So that's what made it unique, coming from more of an industrial-based machine to a this PCS60, which was truly for the car industry.
So it's more precise.
Precise,
Okay.
and it's also for the delicate surfaces and markings that you don't want to be taking off, especially on these type of vehicles. So you could go from 0.3 mil to 3 mil pellet sizes. When I'm doing an engine bay, I'm only doing like closer to 0.5 pounds per minute.
That makes sense.
Right, because you don't need that much volume going in, and it's a lot more delicate surfaces as well.
Right.
So it's just dependent on what you're working on. 60 pounds can be an hour, or it could be 30 minutes, or 2 hours, depending on how much volume you're pushing. So I have two guns, of course, that comes with these. This is the more smaller one, is the Precision, and I have one that's hanging up there, which is the big boy, that is for larger surfaces that I work on, like the belly.
So this is like engine bay.
Engine bay, I mean, some of these suspension parts that we're gonna hit today, we're gonna utilize this.
This whole thing.
This is 500 pounds worth of dry ice in here, and this is basically usually good for 1 or 2 cars, depending on what kind of car I'm working on. So
a smaller Porsche, you could probably get a car and a half, huh? Out of that, maybe 2?
Yeah, it really depends on the volume. This is, when they labeled it, it's 558 pounds worth in here. So it comes in this blue plastic to kind of keep it sealed. That's the pellet sizes. I mean, you can touch it for a little bit, but yeah, this is what it comes in. And the beauty of dry ice is that why this is the best media for a car is it's, environmentally friendly. It literally is, there's no secondary waste. So once it hits the surface of the car, it just basically disappears from solid to a gas. So a prime example, and I'll just toss this on the ground right here, is it literally just turns to gas, right? If any other media, you're gonna be cleaning it up.
Yeah.
Right, the only thing I'm gonna clean up is the dirt that's on the floor.
Yeah, that was my next question. So where does that dirt go? I'm sure it goes everywhere.
Yeah, it goes everywhere, but mostly on the ground, and I just kind of collect it and clean it up. For the, some areas I'm putting the plastics to kind of, keep it contained, but it's hard. I mean, you're in an open space, and this will last 7 to 10 days, believe it or not. It doesn't melt, it's just what's called sublimation. Once it hits the surface of the car, it basically expands 800x.
Yeah.
It's like mini explosions, kinetic explosions, thermal shock.
Neat.
That dirt is just literally like just getting blasted and blowing off, right? So it freezes that dirt. This is at negative 108 degrees, right? So think of that hitting your surface at high volume, right? That speed and the thermal shock, the dirt just falls off.
Safety-wise,
yes,
I know it's CO2, so how do you get oxygen to yourself?
Yeah, so I keep the place well ventilated and make sure that bay's cracked open. I got 2 fans.
So no active oxygen tank or anything?
No, that's a CO2 reader.
Oh.
So that thing is reading 608, and it gets up there. And I have another one near the back here, so it shows the amount of CO2, because the CO2 usually is heavier than it stays bottom. Like right now, it's showing 900, and that's showing 600.
That's a huge difference.
Yeah, so if you're under here, like on a car, you gotta be cognizant. And I do wear full PPE, so I'm masked, respiratory setup, ear protection, because it is loud.
Right. So you just got to be aware. Like if you start feeling
dizzy,
stop.
Yeah, you kind of I take breaks every 30 minutes, just kind of like check, make sure, where's the levels at, how do I feel?
You're going to asphyxiate yourself if you're not careful.
Correct.
All right.
So,
this right here. This is where, yeah, beautiful for you. That's right.
Gonna give you the contrast.
Here's the welding work that I did. I can finally see it standing up. I had to cut this whole floorboard out. It was completely rusted out and welded in a donor piece. Some seepage. Okay. Not much. It looks like it's right there. And where is it coming from? Looks like it may be coming from this plug. Huh. See if the other one's leaking. A little bit.
So with the dry ice process, you're literally taking dry ice as the media with the compressed air, high pressure compressed air, hitting the dirt, grime of decades from this car and literally freezing it. The kinetic energies, it just expands 800x, that dry ice. So with that, it just freezes it and then it literally melts and falls.
That's incredible. I mean, it feels factory new.
Exactly.
Wow.
Underneath all that was this.
Yeah.
And
no
all the markings on the transmission here, you're gonna be able to see and read. and oil that might be dripping off from the transmission, you're gonna spot it really quickly with a clean transmission case.
Yeah.
So even if you take it to a mechanic shop, you're not gonna be spending money on them trying to clean it up before they work on it.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
save you money there.
Save them time to diagnose an issue.
Exactly.
They see it leaking right away.
Correct. So
Well, Seth, I'll let you get back to it, man. I really appreciate your time,
You're welcome.
and we'll come back tomorrow and pick her up.
yeah,
All right.
awesome.
All right, we're back at Dry Ice Detailing Pros, getting ready to take a look at Pepper. Okay, so I'm under the car, taking a look at the work, and it looks, look at those wheels, man. Oh, they look awesome. And then looking at the exhaust. Ow, that's hot.
Yeah, sorry, it's hot.
Yeah.
I literally just moved it so I can have it presented. So.
No touch.
All right, Seth, thank you so much. This was a fantastic job, man. I know
You're
it had
welcome.
like, what, 22 years, 21 years worth of grime underneath there.
Yes.
Was there anything challenging that you ran into that you just had trouble knocking it out?
I think for the most part, and I've done a few good amount of Porsches now, is just taking time on your transmission case, and because it's just a lot of, it's like a spine.
Yeah, it's
right.
like all
so it's
ribbed.
just yes,
Yeah.
it's a rib. So definitely that, of course, is the most challenging, and we're only able to dry ice what we can see and
Right.
point at. So that's majority of that is just taking your time, kind of just making sure all the cracks and crevices are cleaned up really well. So
Okay.
that's kind of the most challenging.
So would
on
you
this part.
say that the wheels were unclean for about 20 years? Was that like 20
yeah.
years worth of crap on there?
Yeah, so that one was definitely, if you had to scrub those wheels, you'd probably take at least a couple hours each one.
Yeah.
Right, so with the dry ice, it just kind of freezes that dirt and just comes off.
How long did it take to do per wheel?
Per wheel is probably a good, I'd say 25, 30 minutes.
So even
each.
that, it still takes you half an hour to knock it out.
Yeah, so exactly.
Wow.
Exactly. So
Wow.
it
That's a lot
takes
of work.
it takes time just because of the much amount of grime that was on those wheels.
Well, thanks again.
You're welcome.
And so Dry Ice Detailing Pros has 2 locations, one here in Houston, Texas on the far west side. So be sure to check them out if you're in Houston. And the other one is where? In Georgia.
Alpharetta, Georgia, just north of Atlanta.
So Alpharetta, Georgia, if you're in the Georgia area, and I know I have some Georgia fans out there, be sure to check out his business. He does a hell of a job, and tell him Yogi sent you. So with that, thank you. We'll see you next time on Yogi's Garage.
Thank you.
All right.